who wishes. So the recording is active now. Specifically, we have an hour for this training session. This is Dr. Vesey for the recording. We're doing the training on basic eCourses activities. Specifically, we're going to look at how to set assignments, how to do dates and deadlines, creating exams, posting PowerPoint slides and other documents, posting links, posting videos, YouTube video, and overall class structure. I'll share with you guys how I structure my class. And I want to be upfront and transparent in saying that I'm not sitting here as the speaker for this session professing to be, an eCourses technician or an eCourses master guru. What I am professing to be is a professor in the College of Business who's used eCourses a lot. And so I may know things that other faculty members may not know. You guys may know some things that I don't know. But what I do know, I'm willing to share and provide that information. And I would also encourage anyone else who may know something or has something to share to go ahead and share it. Your settings, let me make sure I have that set correctly, is that you should be able to unmute yourself. I'm just confirming that right now. Yeah, so if you have anything, if you have anything you want to say or share, just unmute yourself and ask the question. So without further ado, let's get started. You guys should be able to see my eCourses page, and this is mine. So we'll pick one of my classes. Let's go with 2263. Now, I'll go over structure first. And once again, this is how I structure it. So there's a lot of different ways that people can structure classes. Some are more involved, some are less involved, but this is just how I do it. And I'm only sharing this, not for you to critique me or for me to critique you, but so that you can see one person's way of setting up their eCourses. And I'm all about efficiency. That's very important to me. So you'll see that in my design and how I have my class set up. So first, I group each chapter in what I call a module. If you look here to the left, eCourses kind of outlines all the modules. So you see module 1, 2, 3, and then an exam. I give my test after every third exam, I give a test. So you may think, well, what about midterms? And my approach, my pedagogical approach is that I don't have specific midterm exams. Whatever your grade is at midterm is what is reported for your grade. So I don't go out of my way to kind of structure my exams around the midterm season, so to speak. Sometimes my exam falls during midterms. Sometimes it may fall, my exam a week or a half a week before midterms. But whatever your grade is at midterms, that's what I report. And I communicate that to my students so they understand. They seem to appreciate it because it takes a lot of stress off of them as they're preparing for exams across 4 to 5 other classes. So every 3 chapters, I have an exam. Every 3 chapters, I have an exam. So you can see for this class, there's a total of 3 exams. This book doesn't have a lot of chapters in it. So there's a total of 3 exams, and then I have a final exam, okay? And then I always offer an extra credit section. Let me just scroll down to the extra credit so you can see that. This is what I do for extra credit. Usually at the end of every semester, you get so many requests for people, who are on the borderline. Can I do this? Can I do that? Is there extra credit? Is there not extra credit? Do you round up? Do you round down? They're really fighting for that last bit of grade. And for me, academic integrity is very important. So I don't want to just, slap a big curve on there just to give people what they want or to do any other form of really manipulation. So what I do is I have extra credit built into every class, and they're centered around the exams. So it's basically a series of essay questions that a person has to answer. And I may have 2 or 3 essay questions per chapter. So let's say it's 3. That'll be a total of 9 essay questions for this extra credit assignment. The assignment is posted. The students need to go in, answer each question, save the document, and upload it back to eCourses for a grade. And I have one review assignment like that for each exam. This way, if they choose to do extra credit, it will help them study for their exam. That's kind of my goal there, and hopefully increase their score. And what I do for extra credit is that at the end of the semester, I do a quick review for completeness and general accuracy of the questions. Because you can imagine 30 students, 3 assignments, 9 essay questions, that's a lot of reading. So I don't read them in depth, and I let the students know that, but I check for accuracy and completeness. And if they do, I give them 100% for that extra credit assignment. Extra credit is up to 2% of their overall grade. That way, if somebody is sitting at 89, they're really trying to get that 90. If they did the extra credit, they'll be able to get the 90, to get their A or whatever. So it's really designed to help those people that are right on the borderline and get to the grade they want. If they're at 70, they say 77, and they do all the extra credits, so now they're at 79, well, then they still get a B for the class, because without the extra credit, they were at 77. So, they should have did a little bit more. But that's how I kind of explain that to the students. So you can see that structure in my class pretty well, and it has worked quite well for me. The other thing is that once you are using online, you can migrate your class from semester to semester. So once I took it was a lot of work and effort to get the classes built out, but from that point on, the work was minimal, because when I migrate over to the next class, all my modules follow through, all my exams follow through, all my exam databases follow through, and now it's just a matter of going through and setting the dates for when I want everything to be due, and when I want it to open up or to be due, and so on and so forth. So it makes it very easy and very predictable for me. I have even, not in this class, because this class is the face-to-face, but I've even recorded an entry, a welcome to the class video that's mandatory for every person to watch. And that video kind of walks them through how the class is structured, the rules and regulations of the class, what I expect of them, what they could expect of me. And I make them take a quiz based off of that quiz based off that presentation, before they can start any of the course material. This way I know they watched the video and that they have a basic understanding of it, and they have to score at least 80% or better on that quiz before they can start anything in Module 1 and on down through the course. So the other good thing about that is it gives them a quiz that counts with their grade, which can give them a little bit of a boost for their grade as well. So let's talk about assignment setting. That's the first thing we have on the list here. So I just covered class structure and how I have my stuff. Oh, one other thing here, let me share this with you too, sorry. Each module I have built out in the same way. So it's repetitive and it's predictable. It works well for the students so they know what to expect. And it also works well for me so that I can keep things organized. And I'll have a section on video lectures, a section where I have PowerPoints, a section where I have additional articles and readings that they need to do. I have a homework section, which is an assignment. We'll walk through this today in class. And then I have a quiz. And every module consists of these same 5 components. Now, for the video lectures, I've gone ahead and recorded a lot of the lectures for my classes in advance. Once again, the benefit for me, and I think others would have the same benefit of going through all the work to record all your lectures in advance. You can use the Zoom technology, you can use any type of video recording software. If you have questions on that, I can answer some of those. But if I have all the lectures recorded out in advance, I can control the speed of the class much more fluidly. It used to be that I would never get through all my content. And at the end of the semester, I'm always a chapter or 2 behind where I wanted to be, and that's just where we had to stop. Well, with the recordings, I could use that. I use it to supplement the teaching when I'm doing face-to-face. So if I don't get to a certain topic, that's okay. I tell them, it's your responsibility to watch the videos in addition to coming to class and participating in the face-to-face lecture. What this allows me to do is certain topics which are more challenging, I can spend more time on that in the class. Other things that are a bit easier, I don't have to talk about it in class at all. And the students are still 100% responsible for it because it's on the video recording. So everywhere you'll see like a Dr. Vesey lecture, that's a lecture that I recorded for that material based off of the content that I'm holding them accountable for. I also search YouTube and I find other videos that are relevant, that are supporting videos or supporting information for my class, and I post those up there as well. And the students are responsible for that information as well. So when it comes to the database of questions, those questions in my database for Module 1, they'll be pulling content from all these links the the PowerPoint slides, obviously the any articles that I have them record. It'll pull information from content from all of those in order to have questions. What I found to be helpful is that if you have at least, now sorry, let me back up. For my database, and we'll take a look at the databases. For my databases for each class I teach, I handwrite all the questions that go in there. I do know that some textbooks come with databases that you can upload into eCourses using Respondus. And the great thing about that is that they may have 150 to 200 questions per chapter. And that's great. I found the quality of those questions vary. And that sometimes they could ask questions that are so specific that nobody would get it right, not even me, because you got to go find the exact paragraph and sentence in the textbook where it said this one statement, and that's the only way you would have knew the answer to that question. And I think that's a bit unfair to students. So I've moved away from using test banks. The other reason also is that many test banks are available online in general to students. So what you'll have, and I've seen this, is students they'll be taking the test, especially if you're doing your test online. They'll have two browsers open. They'll copy the stem, the question stem, paste it in Google and hit search. And then it'll pull up that question, that test bank, and the answer. And they'll go through for each question on the exam, quickly Googling each question just to get the correct answer. When you're using a test bank, they're going to get those answers. They're going to find those questions. So I moved away from that. I've wrote my own questions. It is a lot of work to write your own questions. So I am very protective of that when it comes to the students. I'll show you what I do to help protect those questions. It's not 100% proof, but it's worked pretty well for me. And my goal is to have about 15 to 30 questions per chapter. The closer I am to 30 questions, the better. But I haven't gotten that good on every chapter. I got 30 questions. I got to go and write more questions. But if I got 15 to 30 questions, that means in my database for exam 1, right, I would have a total of 90 questions that can be randomly selected for the student to take. And that's pretty good randomization so that no student's going to get the same exam, and that it makes cheating a little bit more difficult. So it's nice if you could just maybe every year add 5 to 10 questions to your database for each chapter. That way your database, your question database continues to grow. But that's how I structure my class. It makes grading really simple. I use this assignment feature here. I'll go over that in detail with you guys, because once the students finish this, their grade is automatically posted. So efficiency, as I said earlier, is a hallmark of what I try to do. So anything that allows eCourses to do the grading and to immediately post students their grades, I gravitate more so to those functions and features because it gives them immediate feedback. And so the quizzes give immediate feedback. The online lessons like this give immediate feedback. So that's great. And if you look at my course schedule, they have grades. They can earn points for assignments right here. They can earn points for quizzes, and they can earn points for exams. So most of my grading nowadays actually is done by eCourses. And that allows me to move a little bit quicker and let the students have immediate feedback on their answers. Now, so that's the structure of the class. Let's talk about assignments, or how to create new things. First thing you need to do is go up to the gear icon, select that, and say turn editing on. You're not going to be able to edit, modify any kind of assignments without first turning the editing on. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll down to say module 1. And I'm going to click add an activity or a resource. This is going to let me add any kind of component I want to that particular module. Okay, for you, you may call it chapter. Some people may call it weeks. The reason why I don't go with weeks, and I know every semester when we start eCourses, the eCourses team puts weeks in for, I always go back and I change it. I remove the weeks and I put modules, because if something happened and you got off schedule, this coronavirus is a perfect example, but you got off schedule, then you need to go and redo your entire schedule because you've done it in weeks. But if it's modules, you don't have to go through all of that. You could just simply say, hey, we're still on module 6 this week, and you can adjust your syllabus if you want to or not, and so forth. These are a list. This here is a list of all the activities that you can add to eCourses. And there's a lot of them, right? So for me, and I recommend this for anyone else as well, pick the things that you like. Pick the 1 or 2 activities that you like, that you understand, that you think are good activities for the students, and then stick with those. And probably 2 to 3 is all you really need. For me, you can see I just have 3: exams, quizzes, and online lessons. But you could do any of these. So let's take a look at the most common ones. Let's say an assignment. We want to post up an assignment. That's going to be the top link. It's the first one here. Oh, actually, let me do this too. As you scroll down, you see here you got activities. You scroll down, you have another section called resources. So this activity window is broken into 2 different parts: resources and activities. Activities are gradable activities, for lack of a better word. They're items that you could post up and that are gradable, and we'll put an entry in the Gradebook for eCourses Gradebook. Resources, on the other hand, is if you just want to post up information. So I want to post up a video, I want to post up an article, I want to post up some information, something like that, then resources is where you really want to go to. And let me say this while we're at it. Let's say you're going to post up an article, and you guys should be able to see anything I do on this page. So I'm just going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to type up an article on teaching online PDF. I'm just going to do a general search on YouTube. I'm going to find a nice PDF, something about teaching online. Here we go. So let's say I want to post this up to students. I can very easily copy and paste the link, go back to eCourses, and under the section of resources, click URL, click add, and now I could create a name for this. So teaching online. Here's where I would put the URL. Okay, so I always copy and paste. You could do a search, I suppose, if you wanted to. I always just copy and paste the link. If you want to put a description underneath it, you can do so. So this completely optional. It is nice because you're providing additional information to the students about it. If you want this information to display on the eCourses class homepage, you would click this link here. If you don't want it to display, don't. Just leave it unclicked. Once they click on that link, they'll be able to read this information as well. So they still will be able to see it. I don't tend to display information on my eCourses homepage because it will make the page much more confusing and much more busy. So I tend to leave this unchecked. Now, you have a couple other features here. Appearance, I don't do anything with this. There's really nothing you need to do here. We're just posting up an article. So really, most of these don't apply. The one thing I will say is that if you want to restrict access, so you want to say people could only look at this article when they've completed some activity, when they've completed the quiz for module 1, or when they've completed assignment 2, then this is where you can do that. You click activity completion, and then you would choose the activity. So these are all the activities you can see here. Module 1, the lesson. Okay, you choose quiz. Here's this module 3 online lesson, module the quiz or exam. So you can set any kind of. So they can only look at this this link or this article that I'm posting up here after they completed module 1. After they completed exam 1, and then I could put criteria on that. They have to just complete it. That's all they got to do, or they got to pass it with a certain grade. So once you say when they pass exam 1 with a grade of 70 or more, then they could look at this article, or then they could complete this next assignment. You could put requirements like that in there if you want to to really guide the students through. Or you could put in here, must be completed with a fail grade. If they fail this exam, then they can look at this article. Okay, so lots of things, lots of restrictions you can put on there. Once you have the restriction added in like this here, it's done, it's in there. Okay, and then you could click save and return to course. I'm not going to leave the restriction in because that doesn't make sense here. To remove a restriction, just simply click the X next to that restriction component and it will delete it. Click save to course. It's going to take you back to the module now. It always moves itself back to where the link was supposed to be. So if you just give it a second, it'll take you right back to where it is. And here's that link for online teaching right here. If I click on it, it's going to pull up the article. And here's what's interesting about this, and I want you to really pay close attention to, is that it pulled up the article online. So it went to whoever, WLAC.edu, it went to their website and pulled this article up. If for some reason that organization, WLAC, decided to remove this article from online, then you would no longer be able to pull that article up. So when it comes to posting articles, I have stopped using URLs. I don't use the online URL for an article. Instead, what I do is I download the article. So I'm just going to download this. I'm going to save it to my documents. So now I have this article saved on my desktop. Instead of posting a URL, like I just showed you the example of here, I actually just post a PDF. That way, that link will always be good on my eCourses, because now that PDF is actually housed in my eCourses platform, and it's not linking to somebody else's website. I've had too many times where I've linked to websites only to come find out the next year that link is no longer available, and I have broken links in my eCourses page. So in order to post a document up, I'm going to use this article as a document, but this could be an assignment, it could be instructions, it could be you got a group project and you want to provide them with an example of the group project. If you want to post up a file, that's what we're going to look at right now. Here's how you do it. And anytime you can post up a file, I strongly recommend posting up a file as opposed to creating a link to an active website someplace. Okay, so because I'm only posting information, this is not a gradable activity, it's just posting information, I would go to the resources section and I would click file. And then I could click add, and basically it's very similar to what we just did for the other one. Matter of fact, you'll find that this format is incredibly familiar, similar to all, for all activities. I'm gonna create a name, online teaching instructions. If I want to put a description, I could do so, And just like the other one, if I want to have that description displayed on the home page, I just click that button. Now here's where I actually add the file. You could drag and drop it from just drag and drop it into this here, or you could click here and you could go and find it. And then click upload this file, and there it is. You know it's there when it's a PDF. Sometimes when you can see it there, sometimes if you're uploading a very large document, you want to give it time to finish uploading. You'll see a little spinning thing or something like that. But if you are uploading a very large document and you go and you click, save and return to course too soon, then it's not going to finish uploading it. This is a very small file, so it uploaded really fast. But if you got a larger file, like a video or something that you're trying to post up, then you want to make sure you give it enough time and where you can fully see, you can see underneath, you want to be able to know the document is fully in there, Okay, there you go. See that? You can see the full name. Usually when the full name is present, the document or the file is completely uploaded. Once again, you can control the appearance. What is nice sometimes, I think is very nice for the students, is that you can tell a new window. So when they click on this link, instead of it staying in the same tab on your browser and just moving to the new screen, and then they can read the article or whatever else. Then if they want to get back to eCourses, they got to push the back button, on the browser. I like to leave it as new window. So whenever they click on the link, it's going to pop up as a new window, not as taking over the window that your eCourses was already set in. So that's the default setting. So if you just don't mess with it, you're fine. If you want to restrict access, once again, you can go here and you can restrict access. Other than that, click Save and Close. And now you can see here's the second one. The difference between these two is when I click this one, it opened up a new tab, but it took me to the file online on this person's website. When I click it here, because I uploaded it as a file, you see, it's taking me to, it's still within the eCourses website. This way, that file will always be available to students. So I strongly, whether it's a video, whatever it is you could do, upload it as a file. That way, it will always be on the eCourses platform and it won't disappear on you. Now, you can look here and see that I got some structure in terms of how I have my modules laid out. I have, these bold, the sections are bold. The actual assignments are indented. Let me show you how to do that really quick. You have a file that's put up there. Let's go to one of the ones I just put in here. Click on the drop-down arrow here under Edit, and simply click Move Right, and it is scooted over. If you want to move it right to again, you can move it right again. If you want to move left, you can do the same thing, move left. That way you can create some structure. Having the assignments indented and the headlines bolded, it really makes it easy and intuitive for a person to move through the class. If you want to delete an assignment, likewise, you simply click on the Edit and go down to Delete. If you want to, and then obviously click Yes, I want to delete this. If you want to hide it, so you have this feature here, but you don't want to let people see it yet, you don't want the students to be able to see it, you can click Hide. And now you can see it, but the students will not be able to see it, okay? Click Show to make it visible. Another thing that's very helpful is you click on any activity, and you'll see you'll have the option to duplicate it. So if I click Duplicate, it's going to create another identical one, okay? And it puts Copy. You can change the name easily by clicking the little pencil behind there, and you can just change the name. And make sure you hit Enter or Return, and it should change the name for you. I find the duplication helpful because what I have in my sections, okay, well, maybe not this class, in other classes, I have certain, dividers, and I can simply copy in that divider and use it to help structure the visual appeal of the class. I didn't use it in this course here, but that's okay. So I'm gonna delete these two right now. So now we know how to post up assignments. We can post up videos that same way. If we want to have a YouTube video, it's the same thing as post up a URL and then putting the YouTube URL in there. Okay, if you guys want me to demonstrate that, I could do that for you as well. Or if you feel like you kind of got that, we'll move on. This idea of posting up files is really important when it comes to posting up PowerPoints, other documents, instructions. My students do a case study, and I've done an example case study for them, so I post that up so they can be able to read that document and look at that and compare that to what they're doing. Okay.
Would you be kind enough to demonstrate a YouTube video?
Absolutely, absolutely. So here, we'll go once again to add an activity. And because a YouTube video is simply sharing information, it's not a gradable activity, we're going to go down to resources, click on URL, click add. And right here, we'll type the name of whatever the video is. So let's just go find a YouTube video first. Let's do that. So YouTube, and oh, this looks good. How about we do a video on pineapple upside down cake. You can't beat that, right? So let's just pretend this is a video that you want the students to know. So what I do is I copy the title. Now, obviously, you can title it whatever you want. You know, I copy the title. That way, if I ever got to go back to YouTube, I know what the title officially was. Usually, people do a pretty good job of titling their videos. So I just copy and paste it in there, you know, and that's in the name section. Then I go back to the YouTube video and I get the URL. I click on it, I copy it, and then I just paste it right there in the URL section. Just like if I was doing an article or something like that, I'll paste the URL there. You could type a description in here if you want to. That's totally up to you. And the same things, you know, if you want to put a restriction on it, you can do that. Okay, appearance. It's going to open up in a new window or a new tab no matter what, unless you tell it not to. So I leave that default. Click Save and Return to course.
And the activity completion shows us that the student has actually looked at that.
Yes, in the way that we're using it here is that they would have to complete the activity in order to get access to this link. Otherwise, if I put a restriction on it that said, let's go back to that. I'm going to click on edit. That allows me to go back to my edit settings. So when I do restrictions here, it is saying that the students are not allowed to watch this link unless they completed some activity. So, you know, completion activity, I could say, you know, I want them to at least click on the syllabus, for example, okay? So if they have not clicked on the syllabus, they won't be able to watch this video. They're gonna get a message from eCourses saying, hey, you gotta click on the syllabus. Or, hey, you need to watch this video first, okay? Or whatever it is that you tell them that you want it to have restricted, whether it's a quiz, an exam, you know, something as simple as clicking on a syllabus, clicking on any document, you know, opening up a PowerPoint slides. It could be anything along those lines. And all you gotta do is leave it on must be complete. That means as long as they click on it, then the eCourses will allow them to use this link. But if they have not clicked on that other activity, eCourses is going to stop them and say, hey, you can't do this. Go back and do that other activity first.
And if my concern is just that they looked at the YouTube video, would we then be using the next tag, the activity completion tag, to indicate that they had completed the YouTube video without having a prior requirement?
That's a great question. As far as I know, there's no way to use it that way.
Okay.
They use it as a precondition in this setting. There may be, if we kind of get into the guts of going into student activity, like there's a section on eCourses where you can look at when every student logged in, how long they stayed on. You can look at the history of what they've been doing on eCourses. And I haven't looked specifically for this, but you may be able to find out whether they clicked on a certain link or not.
Thank you.
So the detailed background information we can get as faculty, it may go that deep, then again, it may not, because it's just a link. And once they leave eCourses, they're on YouTube. So there's no way to know whether they watched the whole video or not.
Oh, good point. Thank you.
The other thing with this restriction, let me just kind of say this. I focus only on activity completion, but you can do a whole lot of other things. You can set a date, you know, so you can say if, you know, they can't take it before this date, or get a certain grade on an assignment. So you can set any type of restrictions that you really want. So that's how you upload a YouTube video. I'll click on the link so you can see that it works. So Hennessy butter pineapple upside down cake. I know it's almost lunchtime, so it makes you hungry. But there it is. It's opening up the video, and it opened up in a new tab. So the student can click back and forth between eCourses in that tab, the video, as much as they need to. All right, so now let's talk about creating an exam. Let's create an exam or a quiz. They're the same thing. So on mine, you see on mine how I have mine set up and structured. I have quizzes and I have exams. They are the exact same function on eCourses, the exact same. The only difference is that in the title, I type quiz. And for exams, I type exams. And my quizzes are much shorter. So my quizzes are 5 questions. My exams are more like 30 questions. So they have the timelines I put on, time frames to complete them, all that stuff is different, but that's all my programming. But it's the exact same feature that eCourses, that you use for both. And the other thing is I restrict my exams, I restrict my quizzes to only the questions only from this chapter. Whereas my exams, I pull randomly from 3 chapters. So let's get into showing you how to do that. Because this is a gradable activity, we want to go to the activities section. Okay. So you scroll down to where you see quiz. Don't let that throw you. That's just what eCourses calls it. We use that for quizzes and for exams. It's the same exact thing. Click on add. So now we're going to post up a new quiz. Could be a quiz or exam, whatever you want to call it. So I'll call this quiz 1, or quiz. I'm gonna call it quiz 23. That way I know to delete it when I'm done. If you want to put a description, you can do so. Once again, if you want that description shown on the home page, click that button right there. This is a mock quiz. Okay. Now here we get to the fun part, the fun stuff. Timing. You get to decide how long you want the quiz to be. So for me, it's a short, this is a 5-question quiz. So I'm going to tell it no more than 12 minutes, or yeah, 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. Give the students 2 minutes per question. So 10 minutes. Also notice, if it's grayed out, so like you see here, it's grayed out, that means none of that's in play. And there's none of this is programmed in. In order for it to be programmed in, you must enable it by clicking the little box behind it. Now the quiz will be set at 10 minutes for a student to complete it. Also, you can set the dates. This first one is when the quiz will open, and this second date is when the quiz will close. There are some faculty members who like to have very strong and tight controls. So they're like, I don't want you to take quiz number 3 until we get to this week in the semester. And then you only have 3 days to do the quiz. And part of that is trying to control for cheating, and also keeping the class structured. My personal experience, this is just me, and I fully admit it's a function of my personality, but when I set dates like that of when it's going to open and I struck, hey, you got 3 days to do this, I guarantee you're going to get about 20 to 25% of the students who didn't catch the deadlines and who found themselves not having the quiz completed on time. They either tried to go do it early, it wouldn't open up, or they tried to do it too late, or they waited till 11:59 and the quiz shut off on them. Their life is not working around our very structured teaching schedule. So you're going to increase the amount of emails and communications about date setting type activities by probably 50% by putting very strong, tight controls over when a quiz or exam opens and when it closes. But that's all preference of the faculty member, okay? So me, I just leave it open. that way, if they want to go and take it early, they can take it early. I don't have a problem with that. If a student wants to work ahead a little bit, you know, I don't have a problem with it. Ultimately, I look at students, once again, my philosophy as that they are adults and that they, whatever choices and decisions they make as far as how they want to manage the class within my structure is their freedom and choice to do so. So sometimes I do have students work 1 or 2 chapters ahead. And honestly, that works good for them because when I catch up and I'm doing my lecture on that, it's like a review for them. So totally your preference on how you want to do it, but you can set those dates. I do firmly believe in having deadlines and saying this exam must be completed by this date. Anything beyond that date, you know, is considered late or something like that, okay? Just another one of my pedagogical techniques, not saying anybody has to use it, but I always get, you know, anywhere from 5 to 7 people through the semester who've had some major life-altering activity that took place. They were in a car accident, a loved one passed away, something that, you know, I don't bother challenging. You know, I mean, I'm not here to beat the students up. So if they say that their grandma passed away, I take them at their word. And so they left for a funeral and they missed the exam or whatever else, or missed a quiz. What I tend to do is the last 2 weeks of the semester, I open up all assignments and all activities so that students can complete any missed work. And that really helps me keep things organized so that I'm not constantly going back and forth, you know, for all these different students for every quiz, every exam, trying to grant an exception or non-exception or this or that or whatever else. It can become very overwhelming and very confusing. And I guarantee, unless you're taking very good notes for yourself, you're not going to remember what you did for who 3 weeks ago. But what I can tell them is that, hey, my policy is that if you run into any type of situation where you miss an exam, assignment, or quiz, the last 2 weeks of the semester, I open up everything so you can complete any missed work. Now, mind you, unless it's like a university approved excuse, you're gonna take maybe a 3 to 5 point deduction on that assignment for being late. It's not enough to hurt your grade, but it's enough of a penalty that other students don't claim preferential treatment. So once again, this is just my lessons that I've learned and how I've dealt with it. If you don't tell the students that, hey, there's going to be a 5 point deduction or a 3 point deduction or whatever, you know, some minor penalty for being late, the other students will complain that I completed my assignment on time, my exam on time. Why do they get an extra month to study and can get the same grade as me? So you got to have an answer for that. And the answer is that no, they actually lose points. Okay. But it works out. I've never gotten any complaints from students who are completing the makeup work. Never got any complaints from them. And once I kind of put it out there, and I do this in my introduction video, by the way, so it's out there, people know it in the beginning of the class. I don't get those complaints from other students anymore saying that people are getting preferential treatment because they had a death in the family or something, okay? So that way it allows me to program all my deadlines for all my courses, all my quizzes and exams in advance. And I don't necessarily worry about enabling a start time. That's just my style. You may differ. That's okay. The next section here is grades. And we're going to do another session on advanced techniques. And in that, we'll cover the Gradebook. So assuming your Gradebook is set up correctly, right? You'll be able to say, where do you want this assignment, this activity, this quiz to count? So me, I would say quizzes. And I only have all this information in this box because my Gradebook is set up correctly. Now, mind you, once you go through all of this for one class, and you might, next semester, you just migrate the class over, it literally takes about 2 minutes to migrate it over, and the computer does 98% of the work. Your Gradebook categorizations and everything will follow along as well. So it really makes your amount of work that you got to do a lot less. You can put in here a grade to pass. I put 70% used as a passing grade. It doesn't really mean anything. It just tells the students whether it's passing or not. You can leave it blank. This is very helpful if you want to give students multiple attempts. So sometimes you may want to allow 2 attempts on a quiz. I've had a situation where, I don't know, something went wrong with an exam once. So I had to reissue the exam to everybody. Well, all I did is I went in and I put 2 attempts on the exam. So now every student could go back in and take the exam another time. And then I leave the setting here for grading method, highest grade. Yeah, you go ahead and get one. Go ahead. So, okay, go talk to mommy, okay? She'll get it for you. Sorry, that's my 3-year-old. So I leave it on highest attempt. This is totally your preference and what you want to do and what your strategy is. But it's going to take the highest of these 2 grades. So they take the quiz twice. Whatever is the highest, it's going to record in the grade book. So you don't have to go and do any more work about it, right? You can say average the 2 grades together. This is nice because, you know, basically it still holds them accountable for their first attempt, right? But then if they come back and they get 100, you know, it averages the 2. You can put first attempt or last attempt, however you want to have it done. Okay. Go get Jaden. Go get Jaden. Sorry, guys. Layout, for me, I like a new page for each question. This goes into part of how I cover for cheating. If I allowed every question on one page, then that makes it so much easier for people to cheat. They can just simply click, they can have 2 or 3 or 4 of them all together in the room, and all the questions are available to them. They can just simply click around. You take this question, you take that question, or however they want to do it, and and just cheat to their heart's content. So I always have it on every question is a new page. Another thing, which is my style, a lot of professors don't do this, I do it, and I make sure that I tell the students this because it will always catch them off guard, is navigation method. If it's set for free, it allows the students to navigate from whatever question they want to. So let's say you got a 30-question quiz or exam. They could be on question 29 and then jump back to question number 2. They could be on question 3 and then skip ahead to question 27. They have free navigation. And most professors are probably not aware that they can restrict it or don't know how. So most professors have free navigation. This also makes it easier for people to cheat, okay? Students like free navigation because, you know, not from a cheating perspective, but if they run into a tough question, oh, I don't know the answer to question number 3, they could go ahead and skip to question number 4 and just keep on going. And then when the exam is almost over, they'll jump back to question number 3. It allows them to kind of navigate that way. So if you remove the free navigation, which is called sequential, which means that they can only take the questions in order, question 1, 2, 3, 4, and they can only take them in order, and they cannot go backwards. So once they click, they're done with a question, they move on, they cannot go back and see that question again. So even if they skip the question, they didn't answer it, eCourses will mark it wrong and they cannot go back. So it's important that we tell the students up front if you're going to go with sequential. I use sequential for everything. And I tell the students that I understand they don't like it, but you know, usually after the first quiz or exam, they understand it. They know that's how my class works, and they simply adjust to it. So I use it on sequential and new page. You don't really need to worry about, oh, this is automatically set as a default. Shuffle questions to yes, you know, that, you know, the more you can have shuffling and randomization, that's better. You're probably not going to have to worry about deferred feedback unless you went in and typed feedback for each question, which is a tremendous amount of work, right? And so chances are you're not going to do that. Review options. Now this is important. This is super important when it comes to protecting the integrity of your exam and not allowing your questions in your database to get out there, because what people will do is they will copy and paste, or they'll take pictures with their cell phones of your questions and begin to try to create a database. And then they will take that database and sell it to their other classmates, okay? So in order to help make it, I can't stop it completely, but I can discourage it. And one thing that I do is that I do not let the students see the questions. After you've taken the exam or quiz, you cannot go back and review the questions. Now, a lot of students say, I want to review the questions, I can see what I got wrong, I could study better for the quiz or for the final. And I understand that, and all that is really, really great. But if I were to give you a paper exam in class and you take it, I take it home, I grade it, I come back the next day, I give you your grades. I may give you that paper exam back for all of maybe 10 minutes in class where you do not have a cell phone, right? And you can't take pictures of it. And then we review it, I collect all the exams back, and they never see that exam again. That's how it works in the real world. Online, if you allow the students to view the exams after they've completed it, then you're allowing them carte blanche access to your database of every question they've at least seen, okay? So what I typically do is I uncheck all of these, except for points, okay? I go and I uncheck, feedback, definitely the right answer, overall feedback, and the only thing I tend to leave open would be points. This means that once a student, and I'll click points here and points here. So now they finish the exam. This is the review options. So once you finish an exam, immediately after exam, what can the student see? Only their score, only the points. If you say the attempt or whether correct, they're going to be able to see the question and also possibly the correct answer, which makes it easy to share that with other students. So I don't do that. I only let them see the point. So you say the quiz is due by Friday. Somebody completes the exam on Wednesday. So immediately after the exam, they can see points. If you don't want them to even see their points until Friday, until after the exam is closed out, then, uncheck it, leave that empty, because this is immediate feedback. Okay, so I don't mind them seeing their points immediately. I'm okay with that, so I leave it pointed. If you want to say later while the quiz is still open, then, you could, that's this section here. I leave points available because I don't care if they see their grade. I want them to see their grade. I just don't want them to see the questions. And then after the quiz is closed, okay, can they see the attempt? Can they see the questions? No, I remove all that and I only let points. So that's how all quizzes and all exams are set up for me. And I think that's an important feature when it comes to security for your exams and protecting your database. The next thing we have here is decimal points. If you want the student to see their grade to 2 decimal points, you can. I find it easier if you put it at 0. It's less debatable because students may say, well, I got a 97.67. You should round that up to a 98. So take it off the table, just put 0. Let eCourses do the rounding for you, okay? Any other restrictions? This is really good. For my online classes, look, I had a big issue with cheating last semester. Huge issue with cheating. Students, they created a My Courses page, on like a Google Classroom. I'm forgetting the name of the application that they use. It's a very popular application. But they create basically a Facebook channel for the class. And students would post up information and questions to themselves in that channel. And people began to post up pictures of, photographs of the questions from the exams and quizzes and all that kind of stuff. So what I did, I know we can't do it now because of COVID, but I required every student to take the exam at the testing center, at PV Testing Center. So all of my exams, even if it's a face-to-face class, all my exams are online. And they all have to be taken at the testing center. The great thing about that, having these online exams, is that gives me 3 to 4 extra days of class time. So I can make sure I cover all my content even better because no longer am I doing exams actually physically in class. In order to protect the integrity of the exam, I put a password on it. So right here is where you can put a password. If you click the little I, it'll let you see it. But let's just say I type in the password. If you want to see it, you can see whatever, click the I and it shows you what it is. Password 123. What you do is you share the password with the testing center and tell them what exam it's for. And then when students come in to take their exam, 1, 2, 3, the final exam or whatever, they verify the identification of the student. They put them at a computer, and then the testing center enters in the password, and the student can then take the exam. So that's how I manage that. Okay. And that's really it. Now, if you want to restrict settings, once again, you can set restrictions like we did for all the other assignments. on this exam. This is where you can put restrictions at. And this is how you open the basic structure for a quiz. So I'm gonna click save and return the course. I know we're hitting our hour mark here, so I'll try to go a little bit faster. Now it's gonna pop up and you can see this is where I have my quiz. If it was an exam, I would have typed exam instead of quiz 23. I would have had exam 23. So now I need to actually add questions to this exam or quiz. So here's where I don't click edit, I click right here. I click the actual exam itself. And it takes me to this, and it tells you no questions have been added to this yet. If a student tried to take it and there was no questions, it's gonna tell them no questions have been added to this assignment. Click on edit quiz, and let's add some questions. I already have my database put together, so in the advanced class, we could talk about how to add questions to your database and create databases. I don't think we have time today. So here, this is where you add questions to your quiz or your exam. Click add, you do a new question. If you do a new question in this structure, you actually can type in the questions individually. And these are all your question choices: multiple choice, true, false, short answer, numerical, a whole set of types of questions. For the vast majority of us, we're just gonna probably go with multiple choice or true, false. If you're dealing with a quantitative or a mathematics class, you may want to use some of these other functions which allow calculations and things, okay? But we'll cover like how to build out the questions, but let's do it really quick right now. Let's say multiple choice. I click add, I'm gonna add a multiple choice question, and then here's where I actually get to add my question. I create a title for it, so I'm gonna put, fake question. What's important here, and we'll cover this in the advanced class, right? But you want to have a section for each module. We'll cover how to create those, but you can see I've already created for module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as I create this question now, I'm going to tell it what module I want this question to be associated with. So I'll say module 1, call it fake question, and I'm going to put this is just a test. Now this is the most labor-intensive way of doing it. You're manually adding a question in. This is worth 1 point. I leave that as default. And then here you can tell it whether you want only one answer choice or should students be able to select multiple answer choices. Sometimes you do a question that's mark all that apply. And that's where you would do multiple answers are allowed, okay? For this example here, we're only gonna do one question or one answer choice. And I'll put, answer 1. And you would tell it what's the grade. So since we're only doing one answer choice, it would be 100. So let's just say this is the correct answer. Answer 1 is the correct answer. But I want to add some wrong answer choices. So I'll go to my next one. I'll put on, answer 2. And you see, I'm going to leave this as none. So if a student selects this, they get no points. If they select this answer choice, they get 100% of the points available. So I do here, I put, answer 3. I tend to go with only 4 answer choices. I know you can go with as many answers as you want to, 5, 6, 7, whatever you want to do. I tend to stick with 4 just to keep it manageable for me to create all the questions. And then, you can click Save Changes. Boom. So I just added a question manually to this particular quiz. Ideally, you would have already gone and maybe wrote out 10 questions or 20 questions and put it in your database for module 1. We'll cover that in the advanced training, okay? We'll do that one probably Tuesday of next week. Since I already have those created, it's really easy for me to build out a quiz. Once again, I'll click add. This time, I'm gonna put from a random, right here, random question. So I have a database for module 1 of 15 questions. So you can see, I created this module, this section. We'll cover how to do that in the more advanced training. I have 15 questions here, and it's gonna randomly select it. So I'm gonna tell it how many questions to randomly select. So I'm gonna say select 4 questions randomly from the database. And then that's all I gotta do. That's it. I click add random questions. And then now it just added 4 questions. It's gonna pull it from module 1, and it's gonna randomly select from the questions I have in that module 1 database. This is how you can create an exam super fast and super easy. Now let's just say, hypothetically, this were an exam, and I wanna have questions from not only module 1, but module 2 and module 3. Or it's a final exam, and I wanna have questions from every chapter. Once again, really easy to do. Click on add, go back to random question, and I'm gonna say, give me 5 questions, but this time, instead of pulling it from module 1, I wanna take it from module 2, or chapter 2. And it's gonna add, and click add random questions. So now you can see I have 5 questions. I got module 1 questions, and then I got module 2 questions. This is how I build my exams out. So then I would say, okay, it's an exam. My exams cover 3 chapters. So I'm gonna add 5 more questions, but this time I want it to come from module 3. So I go to module 3, I'll tell it give me 5 questions, add those questions, and now I'm good. I have questions now from all 3 chapters, randomly pulling from all 3 chapters, and for this exam. All I have to do now is click save. And then that's it. Okay, so I can go back to my quiz here. And you can see now it will allow me to, it'll allow people to take the quiz. They're allowed 2 attempts. The quiz will close on April 20th. The quiz will close on April 20th at this time. You know, and I guess I showed you where we can set the dates. Where the dates are, that's where you can also set the time. I usually close all my exams at midnight. I do that consistently across every quiz and every exam, so students know what to expect, okay? Once again, consistency is super important. If the close time for exams and quizzes are fluctuating back and forth, it's gonna cause confusion and you're gonna get a lot more emails from students. If you wanna preview the quiz, you can simply preview it. You can see here, I put a password in there. So it's gonna even ask me the password in order to preview the quiz. I think it was password 123. Click start attempt. And here you can see it allows me, this is what the quiz will look like for students. If it's on that free choice, free select, so they can navigate freely, students will be able to kind of click any question they want and move forward. Because I put it on sequential, you can come up here, I'm trying to click on 3 now, and I can't go to 3. I have to answer this question first before I can then go on to the next question. I cannot go backwards, and I cannot go forward. I can only do the question that's in front of me at that time only. The time, you see, there's 10 minutes for this quiz. The time is already counting down, and this is the way it looks to students, okay? If you want to edit this quiz, so you don't like that quiz, you can edit it. Because we're the instructor, you could edit it, you know, if you want to. It'll take you back to the question stem, where you can then make edits. If you see a typo or something like that, you can fix it. All right, so that is how you put a quiz, how you do quizzes or exams. So I think we've covered everything we had on the list. We covered class structure. We covered posting YouTube videos, posting links, posting PowerPoints and other documents. If you recall, that was just under the file. There's one other thing I want to show you guys here. So let's go back to the module. I'm gonna delete this kind of fake quiz that we made. So I'm gonna delete that. One other thing I want to show you in terms of creating, gradable activities for the students, and that's how to do, post up, some assignments that they'll need to be graded on. So here, assignment. This is perhaps the most popular way that professors in the College of Business are posting up assignments to students. They click assignment. What this allows you to do is to post up a document, Word document, PDF, whatever you want, video, whatever, and the students then have to download that document, complete it, and then they upload a file to be graded. That's what assignment is, okay? Please don't mix it up with the idea of lesson. I do lessons. I like lesson because lessons are automatically graded for you by eCourses. Assignments are not. So let's say you're a quantitative class and you want to put up an assignment with 10 mathematical problems. You want to use assignment because the assignment's going to be posted up and it's going to create a link where the students got to upload their assignment into it. So students will then do their assignment, handwrite it out or whatever, scan it and save it to their computer and then upload it to you. So let's walk through a quick example of this. I'm gonna click assignment. I'm gonna tell it add. I'm gonna create a name for the assignment. So this is a fake assignment. If you want to put a description, this is really helpful for assignments. You can give additional instructions to students. Once again, you can have it displayed on the eCourses homepage or not by clicking this button. And here's where you upload your file. So wherever your instructions are you want to give the students, whatever it is, you upload it here. So I'm going to just drag and drop a file there just so you guys can see how it looks. So I'm going to drag and drop that article we used before. I just dragged and dropped it in there. And then you can set your dates as we covered before. Right here's where you can set your time. And please be aware of that because the default is 0, which means midnight on whatever the day is. So April 24th at midnight. 0 a.m. So April 24th, people cannot upload assignments in here because it cut off at 12:01. 0 a.m. I don't know how else to kind of say it, right? But it cut off in the morning. So all of the 24th is considered closed. So what you want to do is set your time. I tend to put it, at midnight on the 24th, or as close to midnight as I can get, which is 11:59. And I do that for all of my assignments. Otherwise, students are going to say, oh, it was open the 24th. I tried to upload it on the 24th, but I couldn't. Well, that's because you had the time set for 000. And it uses military time. So a 24-hour clock, so 000 really means that as soon as it is 11:59 on the 23rd, and it clicks over, then it's the 24th, and then they cannot upload any more assignments. So I change it to midnight on that day. That's how I do it. So you can go down here once again. The grade, if you want to, I don't tend to mess with this at all when you're setting up new, assignments and stuff. This is automatically defaulted. It usually works correctly. We'll cover some of these features here in the gradebook in the advanced section of training, okay? But once you set your gradebook up correctly, you should not have to mess with this at all. However, it is very important that you put this is a homework assignment, so I'll put it in the right category for homework. Otherwise, it's going to confuse your grades, and eCourses is going to give students the wrong grade, okay? So make sure you put it in the right category. If you want to restrict access, you can do that. We covered this already. And anything else? That's pretty much it. Now, so click Save and Return to Course. And now you have an assignment that you just posted up. This is the most popular method that College of Business faculty are using for students to do assignments. This is what it would look like. So you can move it around, you can move it in, move it to the, whatever you want to do for visual aesthetics. But students will see this, they'll say, oh, I gotta complete my fake assignment. They'll click on it. And then you see it downloaded the assignment there. Oh, sorry. Let me back up. you guys are looking at the professor view right now. So at this point, our view and the student's view begin to diverge a little bit. So it's important to note that as long as you're the professor, if you click on this assignment, you're going to get the ability to kind of make edits and modifications to it. The students see a slightly different screen. They see something similar, but it's a little bit different. So here's where the article is, where they could actually click the article and download it. As a professor, I can see how many people are in the class, how many submitted it, how many need grading. It is important to note, when you're using this feature, you as a professor have to go in and manually grade the assignments. So that's a big difference between this and online lessons. The biggest difference, okay? It tells you when it's due and how many days are left. This is what we see. If you want to view the submissions, click on View Submissions, and you'll be able to see everybody who submitted the grade, submitted that assignment. So here, no one submitted it, obviously, you know, this is a fake example, but you would see their assignment, you know, saying submitted, and then you would also see the file that they uploaded. So you could click on that file and you could apply a grade. And in this case, you say, oh, you know, they got a 75. You know, this person got, you know, they got 100. And you can see how it changes colors whenever you enter the grade in. It's letting you know that this was already graded. So you could go through and grade each assignment that people have turned in. Scroll to the bottom. You can click Save, and this is going to save the grades that you just posted in there. It's going to update the grade book with those grades. This is also important. This notifies students. So if you leave this on yes, which is the default setting, whenever you grade something and you save it, it's going to send an email to the student telling them that, hey, your assignment has been graded. If you don't want the students to know that you're grading them, then click no. And it will just save the grades and you're done. It depends on what's going on with you, but let's say you're running a little bit behind. You know, you wanted to have this graded last week, things got a little bit hectic, but you're grading it now this week. So you may not want to broadcast to the students that you actually haven't graded it as quickly as you had hoped to. So maybe you put on don't notify the students. It just allows you to kind of control what you want to do. Or if you're really on top of it and you want the students to know what's going on, leave it on notify students, perfectly fine. Okay, I'm gonna click Save Changes just so you can see what happens there. Tells you they're saved, you can click Continue. And now you can see those grades are entered in. If I were to go to Gradebook, you would see these grades underneath assignments in the Gradebook, okay? Underneath homework in the Gradebook. If you don't like someone's grade, you can simply change it just by typing in a new score, okay? You can also, you know, to upgrade, you can grant an extension. And once again, if you start granting, you can do grant extensions, absolutely, not a problem. You give somebody more time, or you can prevent someone from submitting an assignment, you know, or update their grade. I usually use that last 2 weeks of the semester. Otherwise, you're gonna be going through and doing a lot of extensions for everyone, and keeping track of that can become quite challenging. Okay, so let's see, I think that is pretty much it. Let's see here. I think there's one other feature I think I want to show you guys. Oh yeah, if you want to do mass extensions, you can, every box that you check here, or you can tell it, you know, check all, select everybody, and then you could go down to this section and you could grant an extension to everyone. Okay, or you could download all the files all at one time. Be careful, I think if you download more than one assignment, it comes as a zip file, so if you don't have the ability to unlock a zip file, that could be difficult. You can either lock submissions so no one can enter it in, or unlock it. You have all those options. If you're going to grant an extension, let's just click on that so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so you grant an extension for all the students, and then you simply put in there what date you're going to give them to. So I'm going to give them till the 28th. Okay, see how we kept my time of midnight? I appreciate that, so I don't have to do it every time. And save changes. Now you just granted an extension. You didn't change the deadline. You just granted everybody an extension, and everybody will be able to see when they log in and try to submit it that there's an extension granted. Okay, and that's how you upload an assignment. The last thing I want to show you with this, and I know we're we've completed our hour about 18 minutes ago, so I thank you guys for staying in there. But you should be able to change the view. I haven't done this in a while, but see if I can find it. You should be able to change the view so you can see what a student would see, and also what you would, or what you would see as a professor. You should be able to toggle back and forth between those. I'm trying to. It used to be on this section here, but when they did a redesign, I think they moved it. So I'm just looking to see if I can find it really quickly. Okay, that's not it. Look under here. Okay, just know that we have that ability. So like I said, when we do the upload for the application, for the file, people are going to upload a document in there underneath assignments. We actually do have the ability to see what a student sees, but I don't know where they moved that feature at. So it was there. It was easy to find at first, but now I don't know exactly where it's at. So I apologize for that. I wish I knew, but that's a helpful feature as well. So that pretty much covers everything that we're going to cover today in today's section. I really hope this was useful to you guys, that you learned something that will make it a little bit easier for you. We're going to set up another setting that's a bit more advanced, where we'll go into actually building your databases for exams. We'll look at the Gradebook and how to structure that, and some of the other more advanced features here on eCourses. If there's any questions, please let me know. Now's the time to ask them. Otherwise, I will thank you guys for being present. And if you have any other questions, comments, feel free to shoot me an email. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's me.